Hi warriors, it's Melissa with Mental Muscle Wellness, and we all have those days and times where we're just not feeling the thing. So I have for you a full body strength workout that you can do for those really low motivation days or seasons. So all you need is an open patch of floor and your body. Let's get started. So again, this workout is meant to be done when you just really don't feel like doing anything, but you know that moving your body is going to have more of a positive impact on you. So for this nice easy workout, I do want to start with a little bit of a warm up and focusing on our breath. So bring yourself feet nice and even and balanced underneath your hips or shoulders, wherever you're comfortable. You can keep your toes pointed forward or out slightly. And we're just going to take a couple of nice big breaths in, tracing our arms up and open. So big inhale and exhale. I find it's important, especially on really low motivation days, to connect my breath with the motion that I'm doing. I find that I have an easier time actually with the motion, and I'm able to focus on something other than, maybe the workout that I am not really feeling like doing. Inhale and exhale. Good. Bring your feet open a little bit wider, maybe 3 or 4 feet apart. This will depend on how tall you are. Point your feet, your toes out towards about 45-degree angle. And we're going to breathe again, but we're going to add a squat and we're going to take our shoulders open in a different direction. So hands come here. Exhale. Inhale, arms lift and big circle. Exhale and inhale. Exhale. Inhale. 2 more. Again, just a nice, gentle, easy warm up for shoulders and hips. Obviously, if you need to take the squat a little more shallow than what I'm demonstrating, it's totally fine. Maintaining your feet in this open position, we're going to do a little side to side lunge. So just down to one side, up and center, and over to the other. You need to adjust your feet for comfort on your hips or knees. Feel free to do so. And again, if your lunge looks a little bit shallower, more like this, that's 100% okay. Again, low motivation days, it's more about getting your body moving, moving your muscles, lubricating your joints, than it is necessarily about trying to light your glutes on fire or get a full body sweat happening. Down and center. If you feel like it, you can add a little crossbody reach. You don't have to. I like it. Sometimes this is a nice little release for your lower back, especially if you've been sitting. If you live in a place like where I live with the 4 seasons, it's starting to get cold and dark, and I always feel like my body kind of contracts in on itself when the weather does that. And we'll do 1 more down to each side, and we're ready to start. So we're going to start just with simple air squats. So again, bring your feet back in line, hips or shoulders, again, wherever you're comfortable. Toes can be pointed forward or turned out. Arms, I find it's easier to come here, or if you need a little bit of extra balance, to bring them out to the side. And we're just going to squat and then stretch 1 foot forward, tapping your heel on the floor in front of you. And then opposite heel on the next squat. Show you from the side. Squat down and tap the heel. Again, if your squat looks a little shallower than mine, that's okay. The most important thing is that you've got your heels in contact with the ground through the entire motion, and your chest stays up and lifted. Nice and steady. Again, if you want to keep your rhythm nice and slow, that's fine. If you want to pick up the pace a little bit, that's okay too. And that's true for any of the exercises in this workout. If partway through you start feeling, hey, I really am enjoying this and this feels better, go ahead and absolutely take it at a slightly faster pace. And last set here. Nice. We're going to come back to that open stance from our warm-up, toes pointed out. This is actually a Pilates-based exercise, but I really enjoy it for the back. You're going to pull in your core. So imagine that there's a fish hook behind your belly button and someone's back there pulling everything in towards your spine. Bend your knees slightly. You're going to open your arms out wide. This is called bow and arrow. Doesn't ever matter for me which side you start with, but we're going to come over and you're going to pull that arm backward like you've got a bow and arrow. And then repeat on the second side. So it's a nice, small, tight motion, but it really involves a lot for your spine. You're rotating and you're pulling back with control. So not only are you using all of those little postural muscles to create the rotation, but you need to create control with your lats, your rhomboids, and your rear deltoids as you're creating that pull back with the bow on our imaginary bow and arrow set here. So again, nothing really crazy in terms of high impact motion, but that doesn't mean that there's not a huge benefit for our joints and our muscles. And last one here. And exhale, relax, release your shoulders if they need a little shimmy shake. If you need to take them, do a little backwards roll, let them loosen up. Go ahead and take that time. We're going to maintain our feet in this stance and we're going to go back to that side to side lunge from warm up. This time, if you can take it deeper, that's great. We're going to add a cross hand reach down to our feet. So I'm going to lunge and reach. Come up center. Lunge and reach, center. If that's too deep, again, that's 100% okay. Just take that reach low. And again, if here is where you can go to maintain that form, that is absolutely okay. Again, the purpose and the point of motion and exercising on a day when maybe you're just not feeling it is not necessarily to push your body to do the most advanced or difficult form of an exercise. The point of moving is to move. It's, again, to get joints lubricated, to get muscles contracting. It's definitely one of those situations where a little bit can really make a huge difference. And again, if you're partway through and you feel like, hey, I'm reaching too far at this point, that's okay. Take one of the other options. Here's our last lunge. And go ahead, step at center, shake out your legs a little bit. We've got a nice little yoga stretch coming up. So when you're ready, you're gonna set your toes up. I call this flipped toes. So you have one foot that is pointing straight ahead towards the camera, towards me. You have another foot that is perpendicular, so the toes are pointing out in the opposite direction. This is the basis for many of the warrior series poses, and that's where we're gonna go right here. So we're gonna go arms up, extended out from your shoulders, and lunge over the pointed toe. Again, take the lunge as deep or as shallow as you feel comfortable. This is warrior 2. And we're just gonna breathe here for a moment. Big inhale and exhale. And then we're gonna go into reverse warrior. So you're gonna lean towards this back side. This hand is gonna fall on your straight leg while this hand windmills up towards the sky. So nice and simple. Again, reach as far as you comfortably can. You can look up towards this tall hand, or if that's tough on your neck or shoulders, you can look straight out. Couple of deep breaths here. And then we're gonna take this to side angle. So big inhale, you're gonna come back up to warrior 2, and then you're gonna continue back around the other side. This forearm is gonna lift and rest on that lunged leg. And now your back hand is your tall hand. So again, you can look up at that if you prefer, or if that's too much for your neck and shoulders, you can look out comfortably and calmly. Big breath or two here. And inhale, lift your torso, come back to that warrior 2 posture, nice and slow. Exhale, release the shoulders, release the lunge. Change your foot orientation. So the foot that's pointing rotates to point straight at the camera. And then the other foot rotates to point. We're gonna do that series out to our second side. So starting with that warrior 2 posture, inhale, arms up. Exhale into the lunge. Take a moment, again, let your hips relax. We just did a really intense hip opening and side body stretch. Sometimes when you do that sided or differently for your right and your left sides, the second side wants to fight you a little bit. From here, we're gonna go to that reverse warrior. So remember, this back hand is gonna rotate down to fall on your leg. Front hand comes up tall. Again, gaze falls where you're comfortable. I really love this side angle and reverse warrior combo because it really does stretch both sides of your torso in a really unique way. And inhale, come up and pause at warrior 2. Continue down and around for that side angle. So again, the forearm falls on the lunged leg. Back hand now is tall. This is a series of stretches where I come away and I always feel like, oh, I grew an inch. One more big breath here. And inhale, up and around to warrior 2. Exhale, relax the shoulders, relax the lunge. Take a step in. Again, shake your shoulders if you need to. I'm going to take a quick pause to adjust my camera. When we come back, we will be down on the ground for a few exercises. We're going to start with cat-cow. So again, a nice release for our lower back. So you're going to bring yourself out to tabletop spine. So you've got knees underneath your hips, wrists underneath your shoulders. If you find that this is intense anywhere, particularly knees or wrists, you can kneel on a pillow or a folded up towel. Same thing, you can put that under your hands. The other thing that I like to tell everybody, this position is actually really intense for your wrists. So again, if you find that, make a fist and put your hand down like that. It keeps the joints straight, so it takes some of the pressure off. Cat-cow is a simple breath exercise. So all you're gonna do, on the inhale, you're gonna press your belly down towards the floor. And then on the exhale, You're going to tuck your tailbone, tuck your chin, and round up your back. And it's just a nice smooth motion in between the two, connecting with that breath, listening to your spine, letting your body tell you what feels good, what feels natural in terms of position. So again, this is another really nice one. You know, we're inside more as the weather gets cooler. We're sitting, backs get tight and stiff. So this is just a nice option to have, sort of release that tension a little bit. Up one more. And come right back to tabletop. We're going to do a little shoulder stretch. This is called thread the needle. As always, doesn't matter which side you're starting with. You're going to take one hand and it's going to come out in between your arm and your leg on the opposite side. And you're actually going to lay your shoulder down. And we're just going to hold this for a couple of deep breaths. This position is difficult. You have the option to sort of prop up on your forearm, especially if you've got really tight shoulders or you've had shoulder surgery in the past. Sometimes it can be difficult to actually lay and put that pressure on them. Inhale, we're going to walk it up to tabletop. And obviously we have the second side to do. You'll see my back if you're watching, and that's totally fine. But again, same options apply. You can go all the way through, or if you like the forearm prop, by all means, go ahead and use that. You can also put a pillow underneath that base shoulder. So the arm comes down and through, and you're just gonna lay. Again, a couple of deep breaths here. And nice and slow, press it back up. We're going to take a little seat, a relaxation back in child's pose. If your shoulders are feeling it, you can take a nice little swimmer stroke, front crawl, let them relax. And we're going to come all the way back up and out into a plank. So you're going to curl your toes and straighten your legs. Again, hands underneath your shoulders, propped on your fist if you need to, or with a towel or pillow underneath them. You also have the option to do plank pose out on your knees like this. So whichever version you find your body okay with today, we're going to hold here 2 or 3 breaths. And then we are going to hinge, hips up and heels down into downward facing dog. And heels should only be pressing as far as you comfortably can. The catch here is you want those back legs straight. Okay, so if up here is where your heels can manage, again, that's okay. And exhale. Down to the knees. Take a little sit back in child's pose. Let the forearms fully relax down onto the mat, carpet, ground, wherever you are. We're going to take that round one more time. So inhale, you're going to walk yourself up, prepped for the plank. Again, whichever version feels good today. Kick the feet back and we're holding. Three solid breaths. And then inhale, hips up. Exhale, heels down. Same thing, we're going to hold here. Downward dog. 3 nice breaths. A lot of core control for these 2 poses. A lot of strength required from your chest and your shoulders. And exhale, drop down to the knees. And again, sit it back in child's pose. Little breather. Inhale, come up. And we're gonna roll all the way over onto our backs. We're gonna do an exercise called dead bugs. Make sure that I have enough space above my head. So dead bugs are a great abdominal exercise. Very simple to do, but again, requires a lot of control. So you're gonna bring both legs up. So you have nice tabletop shins. Again, making sure that your core is nice and contracted. Go back to that fish hook and imagine that somebody's pulling that down and in. Extend your arms out above your head. You're gonna exhale, crunch up, and it's gonna be opposite leg, opposite arm. Comes up and center. This is one of those exercises, it doesn't look like much, but if you're doing them correctly, you'll start to really feel it. And you'll definitely notice that your core is vibrating. Exhale and inhale. And last one here. Nice and slow exhale, release the head and shoulders. Feet come in contact with the ground. Again, relax your arms wherever you feel comfortable. And that's all I have. Thank you for joining me on your low motivation day. I hope you keep this one in the back pocket, and I will see you soon, warriors.